It was a cold morning in June, the kind of morning where the chill in the air seems to seep into your bones. Canadians woke up to startling news that would change the course of their day, and perhaps their future. Canada had imposed new tolls on U.S. vehicles traveling to Alaska, a move that caught everyone off guard. The once peaceful neighborly relations seemed shattered overnight, leaving many to wonder what had gone wrong. A sense of urgency and angst filled the air as people tried to make sense of the sudden change. The decision was swift and unexpected, leaving little time for preparation or response. Politicians and media in the United States scrambled to comprehend the full impact of this new development. Lawmakers called for emergency meetings, trying to devise a strategy to address the situation. Citizens on both sides of the border were caught off guard, unsure of what this meant for their daily lives. The reasons behind the tolls soon became a hot topic, with everyone speculating on the motives. Canada's Prime Minister in a press conference cited economic retaliation as the primary reason for the tolls. This was not just about money, it was a statement, a bold move in the game of international relations. A nation known for its polite diplomacy had struck back, surprising many with its assertiveness. Tensions reached a boiling point, with debates and protests erupting on both sides of the border. The imposition marked a significant shift in the dynamics of US-Canada relations. The friendly border turned into a battleground of economic policies, with each side holding firm. The implications were vast and far-reaching, affecting not just the two nations, but the global economy. This was just the beginning of a new chapter in US-Canada relations, one that would be closely watched by the world. The backstory of these tolls began years ago. During his presidency, Donald Trump imposed heavy tariffs on Canadian goods. The tariffs targeted steel, aluminum, and other key exports. Canada, a major trading partner, was hit hard. The tariffs were justified as protectionist measures. Trump aimed to bolster American industries, however, the move was met with backlash. Canada viewed it as an attack on their economy. Relations started to sour. In response, Canada imposed their own tariffs on U.S. products. Maple syrup, whiskey, and even ketchup were on the list. The tit-for-tat measures continued. The economic skirmish escalated over time. Years of strained relations accumulated into a powder keg. The new tolls on U.S. vehicles were the spark. It was a clear message. Canada would no longer tolerate economic bullying. The economic consequences were immediate and severe. Industries on both sides of the border felt the impact. Manufacturers faced increased costs. Consumers saw price hikes on everyday goods. In the U.S., the automotive and aerospace sectors struggled. Canadian steel and aluminum were crucial. Tariffs disrupted supply chains. Jobs were at risk. Companies had to seek alternatives, often at higher costs. In Canada, the tariffs on their goods meant lost revenue. Small businesses suffered the most. Exports dwindled. Farmers and factory workers felt the pinch. The economic wounds ran deep. Consumers bore the brunt of the skirmish. Prices for cars, appliances, and groceries soared. The average family felt the squeeze. The tariffs created a ripple effect through the economy. The tolls on U.S. vehicles were another blow. The new tolls on U.S. vehicles to Alaska. The new tolls specifically targeted U.S. vehicles traveling to Alaska, creating a significant impact on those who frequently use this route. The Alaskan Highway, a vital route connecting the U.S. to Alaska through Canada, became a toll road, altering the dynamics of travel. Each vehicle faced hefty fees, adding a substantial financial burden to the journey. The journey to Alaska suddenly became more expensive, affecting not just tourists, but also residents and businesses. The tolls were not just a financial burden, they also brought emotional and logistical challenges. They were a symbolic gesture, representing more than just a fee. Canada was asserting its power, making a statement on the international stage. The message was clear: economic aggression would not go unchallenged, and the tolls were a direct response. The tolls added a layer of complexity to the already tense relations. Travelers found themselves unprepared for the sudden changes. Family road trips, business deliveries, and essential travel faced disruptions, causing widespread inconvenience. The additional costs were significant, impacting budgets and travel plans. The tolls were a constant reminder of the strained relations between the two countries. The Alaskan Highway became a focal point of the economic conflict, symbolizing the broader issues at play. The once open road symbolized freedom and connectivity, a lifeline for many. Now it represented division and retaliation, a stark contrast to its former image. The tolls were a stark indicator of the new reality, a reminder of the ongoing economic tensions. Financial burdens on small businesses. Small businesses were hit hardest. Many relied on the Alaskan highway for transporting goods. The tolls added to their operational costs. Margins, already thin, were further squeezed. Alaskan businesses felt isolated. The tolls made it harder to access essential supplies. Costs for goods went up. Business owners had to make tough decisions. Some considered downsizing or even closing. In Canada, businesses also faced challenges. The tolls disrupted cross-border trade. Companies that relied on American customers saw a decline. The interconnected economies were at risk. Small businesses struggled to navigate the new landscape. The financial burden was palpable. Entrepreneurs who once thrived on cross-border commerce now grappled with uncertainty. The tolls created a barrier. It was no longer easy to do business. Impact on Alaskan communities. Alaskan communities faced unique challenges. The state's remote location made it dependent on overland routes through Canada. The tolls added a layer of difficulty. Residents saw their cost of living increase. Essential supplies became expensive. Groceries, fuel, and building materials all saw price hikes. The additional costs were passed down to consumers. Families had to tighten their budgets. The economic strain was visible. Local governments in Alaska voiced concerns. They called for federal intervention. The tolls posed a threat to the state's economy. Officials sought solutions to mitigate the impact. The situation demanded urgent attention. Community leaders rallied together. They organized meetings and discussions. The goal was to find a way forward. The tolls had united Alaskans in their plight. Their resilience was tested. Reflection on geopolitical implications. The tolls on U.S. vehicles traveling to Alaska were more than just a financial issue. They were a significant point of contention that brought to light deeper underlying tensions. These tolls highlighted the fragile nature of international relations, showing how easily economic policies can strain diplomatic ties. The economic skirmish between the U.S. and Canada had broader implications. Diplomacy took center stage as both nations had to address not just the immediate financial concerns, but also the long-term impact on their relationship. The need for dialogue and negotiation became evident. It was clear that without open communication, misunderstandings could escalate into more serious conflicts. Leaders on both sides had to find common ground. They needed to work together to resolve their differences and prevent further deterioration of their relationship. The situation underscored the importance of collaboration in a globalized world. In an interconnected global economy, the actions of one nation can have ripple effects across the globe. The tolls were a wake-up call. They served as a stark reminder of how quickly and unexpectedly international relations can shift. They showed how quickly relations could deteriorate. The consequences were far-reaching, affecting not just the two countries involved, but also their allies and trading partners. It was a reminder that economic policies have real-life impacts. Decisions made at the governmental level can trickle down to affect everyday citizens and businesses. In the end, the tolls were a symbol. They represented the broader need for cooperation and mutual respect in international relations. They represented the need for cooperation and mutual respect. Only through working together can nations hope to achieve lasting peace and prosperity. The US and Canada had to navigate their differences. They had to find a way to balance their national interests with the need for a harmonious relationship. The path forward required understanding and diplomacy. It was a journey that demanded patience, empathy, and a willingness to see beyond immediate conflicts to the larger goal of international harmony.